22,000 years ago, a small tribe wandered the edge of a dying world. The ice was rising, the food was gone, and the wind itself had learned to scream. But among them, a boy would carry their story, through snow, through death, through time itself, until the day the world found him again. The wind was all they had left. It howled across the endless tundra, carving ghosts into the snow, erasing every footprint as soon as it was made. 6 souls moved through that white wasteland, wrapped in furs, faces cracked by frost. They were the remnants of a once great tribe, now reduced to silence and survival. The boy walked behind them, his breath shallow, his mother's fur cloak slipping from his shoulders. He remembered warmth, laughter by the fire, the smell of cooked meat. But those memories belonged to another season, another world. Now only the cold spoke. Ahead, the tribe's leader, his father, raised his hand. The others froze. Through the curtain of snow, something dark broke the horizon. At first, the boy thought it was a rock. Then the wind shifted, and he saw tusks. A mammoth, fallen, half buried in the ice. Steam still rose faintly from its body. Hope. They ran. Even their frozen legs found strength when hunger called. The boy stumbled after them, clutching a bone knife too big for his hands. When they reached the creature, its vast form loomed like a mountain of fur and ice. The leader knelt beside it, touched its frozen flank, and whispered thanks to the spirits. Then the cutting began. The sound was raw, stone scraping flesh, sinew tearing, the hiss of hot blood against snow. They worked fast, eyes darting toward the horizon. Out here, death had many faces, and some of them walked on 4 legs. By nightfall, they had meat, enough to live, maybe another moon. They built a fire from dry roots, and the smoke rose black against the pale night. The boy chewed a strip of mammoth meat, watching sparks dance upward into the dark. For the first time in days, he felt warmth on his skin. His mother smiled faintly beside him, eyes reflecting the firelight. Her lips moved in an old lullaby, one he barely remembered the words to. Outside the ring of firelight, snow drifted silently, and in the distance, yellow eyes blinked once, then vanished. The storm hit before dawn. It came like a wall, a living, breathing thing that swallowed the world. The tribe huddled close, the fire dying under the assault of wind and ice. When the first light broke, the world had changed again. The mammoth carcass was gone, buried, erased. The path behind them no longer existed. There was only forward. The leader's voice cracked as he called them to move. They trudged on, dragging bundles of frozen meat, eyes half shut against the snow's sting. Hours passed, then days. The horizon never changed, white upon white, silence upon silence. By the 3rd night, they found the cave, a hollow in the ice, dark and narrow, but dry enough to light a small flame. They crawled inside, collapsing in exhaustion. His hands were blue, his mother's breathing was shallow, even the fire seemed to hesitate before burning. He tried to speak, to ask his father if they would ever see the sun again, but the words froze before leaving his mouth. Outside, the wind answered for him. Morning came quietly. The cave was filled with stillness. He woke to silence too deep to be natural. He reached for his mother's hand. It was cold, heavier than before. The fire was nothing but ash. He looked around. The others had stopped moving, their faces peaceful, like they were only sleeping. Snow began to fall again through cracks in the cave ceiling, soft flakes landing gently on still faces, like the sky was tucking them in. The boy pressed his forehead to his mother's hand and cried. No sound came out, only steam fading into the cold air. He didn't know how long he sat there. When he finally moved, it was because of hunger, or maybe instinct, that small stubborn spark that refuses to die. He clawed through the snow, digging toward the dim light above. His fingers bled. Then, suddenly, the surface broke. Sunlight burst through, blinding and beautiful. For a moment, he just breathed. The sky was impossibly blue. The world stretched forever. He crawled out and stood, trembling. The wind hit his face like knives, but he smiled. He was alive. He returned to the cave once more. He gathered bones, placed them in a circle, the way his mother had taught him. He covered the others with furs and whispered their names, even the baby, too small to have a name of its own. When he was done, he placed his father's broken spear at the center of the circle. He whispered, "Find warmth." Then he stepped into the blizzard. The snow bit into his skin as he walked. He no longer felt his feet, but he knew he had to keep moving. That was what they had always done. Move, hunt, survive, no matter what the world became. As the sun set, the light turned gold, then blood red. He found shelter behind a rock. The sky darkened, and then he heard them. Wolves. Their howls echoed across the plain, ancient and hungry. He gripped his father's spear. The first wolf appeared, white as the snow itself, then another and another. They circled him. The boy's breath quickened. He swung the spear, once, twice, screaming into the wind. They lunged. The ice cracked beneath his feet. He slipped, and the world fell away. The cold took him instantly. It wasn't pain, just silence, a great, heavy silence. And then, light. He floated beneath the ice, looking up at a shimmering veil of blue. His hand reached toward it, almost peaceful. Bubbles rose from his mouth, gliding toward the surface like tiny spirits. Above, the storm ended. Auroras bloomed across the sky, green, violet, and gold. Nature's final funeral. Centuries passed, then millennia. Snow became ice. Ice became earth. The wind still whispered through the valley, the same words, the same sorrow. Then, one day, the silence broke. Metal struck stone. A sound not heard in 22,000 years. Human hands again. The shovel hit something solid. A scientist knelt, brushing away frost, revealing fur. At first, they thought it was an animal. But when the light hit just right, they saw a face. A boy's face. Eyes closed, lips pale, perfectly preserved in ice. They called him the Ice Child.